which is why a lot of organizations say, let me do this on a less invasive way, and it's through this business risk assessment. And that is that there's, the approach is basically identifying the key players, so getting the organization chart out and determining who reports to the CEO, and maybe some of those underlings and who's important, and creating expectations of the interview being about an hour. Generally, it goes about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. And the structure of the interview is basically this, is who are you? Where have you been? What have your other responsibilities been? Why are you in this new position? Who reports to you? What's their history? What are the problems that you're dealing with? What systems do you have in place? How many people do you have reporting to you? How much turnover has there been? And through those discussions and that reasoning, or those questions, is that you intuit risk. I intuit risk, and I think the person who's being interviewed intuits risk. And at the end of the interview, I'll say, so what are the most important risks? And 90% of the time, the person says, you mean in my department or the whole organization? And I'll say, both. And they'll come up with I'll ask for the top 3, I'll always get 2. But when you combine 15 or so people together and they give you 2, you're getting a good sense for what is the collective view of the organization in terms of the top or the most important risks. I'll memorialize that in a draft report. We'll distribute that draft report generally to a few people to get their response, and then we'll distribute it to those 15 or so people. And I'll share with you a graphic in a moment here, what a draft report sort of looks like. And then we'll have a group discussion of a couple hours, talking about the heat map and talking about these contributing factors as well as the mitigating factors, and whether people think we missed something and whether we can debate the importance of certain risks. And it sort of facilitates or it helps to support that facilitated approach. And we'll have debate over that for a couple hours. And then ultimately determining what is the ongoing approach here with a committee chair, how often will you meet, who's responsible for these risks. So it accomplishes the same thing, it's just a different approach, right? And it's less invasive because it's one-on-one.